Okay, you guys, so this is 8.3. We're going to be solving percent problems, and we want you to be able to solve given problems using percentage with an 80% accuracy at least when you're given independent practice. So these are two tools that you can utilize when you're solving percentage problems to set it up, and that way you can organize it and your brain can be able to take it and then solve for it. So the first one is we want to do a proportion where we have two equivalent fractions. So we have part over whole, which is basically the percentage out of 100, right? Because remember, percent means a ratio out of 100. So that's basically what it means, the part over the whole, and then the 100 is always the whole. And in this case, it's the same thing. When you're given the s, then you plug in the s. So, you know, like this is part of that, which is the whole, and we have the same setup. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find a percent of a number. There are different ways to do it, so I'll show different ways, and then you choose whichever one you like better. So the first one says find 28% of 25. So the first method that you can utilize is you're going to set up a proportion to compare the percent to the ratio of the part and the whole. So the first thing we want here is so we're going to look what we have. So do I have that percent? Yeah, so I'm going to plug in. So here, let me do it right here. So basically you're saying part over whole and then percent. So whatever I know, I'm going to erase, and then that's what I'm going to substitute them with the information that I have. So do I have my percent? Yes, that's 28. So I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to write 28. Now, do I know the whole? Yes, that's 25. Or off, you can use that too. So that's 25. So, and then I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I don't know the part. So that's my question mark right here, right? So that's what I'm trying to find. So then when I do that, I have 25 like that. And then I don't know this right here. So I'm going to find the multiplication factor. What did I multiply 25 times to get to 100? That will be 4. And what you do to bottom, you must do to the top. Now, in this case, I have to go this way. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right there. So in this case, what is the division factor? It will be 4, because 100 divided by 4, 100 divided by 4, yeah, it's 25. So then right here, I'm going to do the same thing. 28 divided by 4 gets me 7. So the answer of what is 28% of 25 is 7. So that will be my answer. Okay? Now, the other way to do it, I personally don't use this method unless I'm a little confused of what I'm trying to do. The method that I use is more of this. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to convert your percentage into the decimal. Remember, this means 28 out of 100, which is basically just 28 hundredths. And if you don't remember this, what you do is you take your 28, you write your decimal point at the end, because that's where decimal point is for whole numbers. And then to go from the percentage to decimal, you're going to move twice to the left. Remember the cat face, okay? So then I have 0.28, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply that by 25. So then you have 25 times 0.28. So it'll be 40, carry the 4. Then 9 times 2 is 16 plus 4 is 20. And then you skip a space. And then 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1 over. And then 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. And then I'm going to add those together. And I have 1, 2 decimal places after decimal. So then 1, 2, and it's 7. So same answer. Okay. Now, you might say that this is easier. I agree that it is easier in this case because the 25 is actually a factor of 100. But when it is not a factor of 100, you want to use this method right here. And I'll show you that right now. Okay? Now, the other way to do it is by basically just writing your given amount, which is 25. So I'm going to write 25. And then 1 percentage, 28, and divide by 100. This right here is basically changing it to a decimal, but in case you want to do it, then you do it that way. So then I'm going to say 28 times 25 will be 700, and that divided by 100, remember when you divide by 100, you're dividing by, you count the zeros, and that's how many times you move to the left, so then that will be 7, which is the same answer, okay? So let me go ahead and do just one more to show you why it's important for us to know this method. And then I'll give you one to practice. Okay, so imagine that I'm given, if I say, okay, find 19% of 80. So if I were to do that, I can write, do I know what that is? No. So I'm going to say, okay, I don't know what that is. I know of is 80. That is always 100, and this is 19%. Now, in this case, I would not like to use this method to find the multiplication factor or division factor because it's the decimal. So for me to go from 80 to 100 is going to be a decimal. So then this is when this comes in handy. Okay. So in this case, I will have to like multiply by 1 point something, and I don't know what that is. So then I'm going to skip this step in this case, and I'm not going to do that right here. So then I'm going to use this two methods. So I'm going to convert 19% into a decimal, so we 0.19, and I multiply it by 80. So when I do that, that's what I get. So then the amount that I was given was 80. So I'm going to say 80 times, and then that into a decimal. So I get 15.2, 15 and 2/10 or 20 hundredths, which is the same thing. So that's the way to do it. The other way to do it, remember, is I'm going to take my whole, which is 80, and then times 19 divided by 100. And I should be getting the same answer, because then I get this with the decimal, and then I divide by 100, and I end up with that right there. Okay? So that's when you want to do it that way, okay, to convert it in that sense. Okay? So let me give you one to practice. So you're going to do this one. Find 22% of 70. Now, you use whatever method you like best, either method 1, 2, or 3. Okay? So here we go. Now we're going to do this one right here. So this one, we're finding percent of a given part. So we're finding percent if we're given either a part or a whole. So in this case, again, I'm going to use this or that to set it up. So then it says what percent. So I don't know, so I'm going to use this one because it says what percent of 2000 is 120. So 100 is always right here. So do I know the is? Yeah, so that's 120. And do I know the of? Yes, that's 2000. That's my whole. And I don't know this right here. So I'm trying to find percentage. Okay. So again, you can use any method. This one I'm going to use the multiplication factor. So I'm going from here to here because I want to get from here to there. I don't know that one. So then what did I do to the 2000 to get to 100? I divided by 20. So what I do to bottom, I do to top. So 120 divided by 20 is going to give me 6. So then 120 is 6% of 2000. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you the butterfly effect because then that's what we usually use when we don't have a factor of 100 or multiple of 100 like we have in this case. So I'm going to do the same thing. So I have 120. I have 2000 right here. I do not know this, and I have this right here. So what you do in this case, when you have a proportion like that, and you don't have it, you have this that is the unknown, you're going to play the little spy. And I call it the butterfly effect. So what you do is you multiply this too. So 120 times 100. Remember, when we multiply by 100, I just add those two zeros. So that's going to be that. So that's 12,000. And then what I'm going to do is I'll multiply this two. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by this right here. Okay. So divide by 2,000. So remember, first one goes in the house. But let me show you a trick. When you have this right here, what you can do is you can cancel out the zeros like that because you're just dividing by 10 every time. So then I have 12 divided by 6. I'm sorry, 12 divided by 2, which is 6. And that's my answer. Same answer that I got right here. Let me show you another one. Just you can see why this is important, the butterfly effect. And then I'll give you one to practice. So I'm going to, again, either do this one or this one. So I have 100% always here. The half percentage, no, that's what I'm looking for. Do I know the of? Yes, that's 13. That's my whole. And then do I know the is? Yes, that's 8. Okay. In this case, nope, it's going to be a fraction, decimal. I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to multiply this 2. So that will be 800. And I'm going to divide by 13. Okay. So I'm going to stop right there because that's probably going to be a non-ending number. So I'm just going to stop on my tens. And I'm going to say that this is basically 61.5% of 13. Okay. So let me give you one to practice. Okay. So go ahead and do that for me. Again, you can set it up as a ratio. In this case, I wouldn't do the factor because it's not going to work. So go ahead and do the butterfly effect. Remember, you multiply what you have diagonally and you divide by the lonely one so you get the answer. Okay? Remember,